Okay, I realized after I got those filler strips put in, I dropped them in backwards. So I had to take the last two that I brought in, and went back to my floor plan, unpinned them, unlocked them, and just rotated them 180 degrees, and then locked them back in. However, for whatever reason, they were hosted on the subfloor instead of hosted on my finished flooring. So I just had to select it and go pick new host, and it went to a section view and clicked on the subfloor, and it popped it back up to the correct height. Okay, so that's got all my cabinetry in place here, and your wall cabinets, you can handle the wall cabinets, I think, fine. You need a filler strip here. Um, Over here, wall cabinets. The plans call for a 3-inch filler strip, and the way the plans are drawn, it shows it going all the way down. Well, that's going to look really weird. A 3-inch filler strip against a refrigerator. Let's see, is this it? Coming all the way down, and since it's going up against the wall, there's not really a need for an enclosure as such. So I duplicated a upper cabinet filler strip. I just duplicated it, made me a new one, and made it 12 inches tall, and brought it in and put it in, and it's 3 inches wide. Okay. Um, so I think everything is looking pretty good right now. So let's look at this wall that we've got to put a wall behind the cabinets. Now, if you remember in our plan last semester, we actually put a physical wall in, and that's because we had wall cabinets. Here, we just need a backing for the cabinets to cover the rear of the cabinets up so that it looks, it looks nice. And typically, what would happen is they'd use a piece of plywood to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and use. I made me a new wall, okay, and I called it 3/4 inch plywood cabinet back. And I went ahead and used the same maple finish that I used on the other wall and made it 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, now draw 3 individual wall segments in, and then this one will be aligned to the back of these cabinet filler strips, so it's 2 feet back, and align the end of it to here. This one needs to be aligned to the rear of the cabinet. Okay, this one will be aligned to the face of the gypboard. So you get those three in place, and I'll show you why I'm doing it like that. So I can go to my trim extend to corner and join those together. Now then, this wall, of course, needs to be based on the first floor and needs to be 34.5 inches tall. So it's the same height as my cabinet. So you can see right here, there's the wall. It comes up to the same height as the cabinet. And let me go to my camera view. And now you can see it back there in the back. Because we're going to be putting custom countertops on top of all this stuff. So we want to get all that kind of stuff done. And I think we're good with all of that. Looks good. Okay, so now we're going to do some custom countertops, and what we're going to make them butcher block, so it looks nice. They are not going to have a backsplash because if we go backsplash over here on this wall, it just looks really weird. Because you would have a backsplash coming up right here that's only 15 inches long, and then you got the countertop, and then you got that. Plus, the wall over here, if we had a backsplash back here, well, it stops right here. And we don't have a countertop in Revit that will do this 45-degree turn and come around there with a backsplash here and no backsplash there with an overhang. So we've just got to custom build one. And that's what we're going to do. So we'll start out. Um, and we're going to model it in place. And we're going to have to play with some material types and different things like that. And I mean, if you're going to use something like this regularly, you would create your own family, and then you would, pull it in and use it. Which, for over here would kind of make sense, but this is a weird shaped kitchen that you're not going to see very often. So let's start over here. So we're going to go architectural component model in place, and it's going to be a casework for the parameters in the category, and I'm going to call it countertop 15-inch. And we're going to do an extrusion. Okay, now while we're right here, we will end up playing with these things once we've seen what it looks like. We'll wait on those things. Okay, so we're going to go with a rectangle, and I'm going to pull it out here, and we're going to apply some dimensions to it. It's going to be 15 inches wide. And it will be 25 inches deep. Okay, and so let's lock those things. Okay, now my that's coming off of the first floor. So let's see. Let's just go with 34 inches to start with. Oh, okay, so I'm going to go with 2 foot 10, 3 feet, because I want to look at it first and see what it looks like. Okay, and I've got an elevation popped in here, so we can see the height needs to come up with it. And so we measure from there down to the first floor level 1, which is 2 foot 11 and a quarter. Okay, so let's go back here and edit extrusion. Go back to my level 1. 0.25, and it's going to be 1.5 inches thick. So 12 and a quarter, 3 foot 0.75. That looks right. Okay, let me check it. 1.5 inches thick. Total height is 36 inches off my finished floor. Awesome. Okay. So now before I move it back into and lock it, and when I could move it, I could lock it in place, I guess. I want to do some editing to it first. And we're going to change our material types because let's search for a counter. Let's pull that in, but I want to edit that. I'm going to call it countertop butcher. Okay, now we can leave all of this stuff set the same, but for appearance, I want to come over here and I want to change my graphic for it. So I come into here, and what I'm looking for is maple. So I just have to scroll up to the MAPs, Marble, I'm close. And I'm going to go with Maple Natural. Okay, I'm going to turn off stain. Eh, finish, we can do a finish on it, but that's more for if you're doing, rendering and photos and stuff like that. So main thing I want for that, and that's all looking good there. I'm not going to mess with any of these. And this is just for when I'm looking at it in appearance mode. So I've got that, and I'm going to go OK. And so I've got that applied to it. So we're good with that. And now then I want to go to, let's see, do I do it here? I think so. Let's see, visibility and graphics. Because it's a countertop, I do not want it to show up in my floor plan, but I do want it to show up everywhere else. But I want to be able to see the edges of it. Because if you think about it, we've just done an extrusion and it's a solid piece of thing, so it's not going to show anything below it. So the way to deal with this is while I'm still in my edit extrusion mode, I clicked on visibility graphics and I'm going to turn off plan. So I want it to show everywhere else, but I'm going to turn off plan. Okay, but now while I'm still here, uh, uh, where was it at? Okay, so annotate, I'm going to go symbolic line, and I want to pick the edges of my countertop. And that was with symbolic lines, okay? Now I can finish that. And let's go to elevation D. Okay, so here it is. Let's try it here. Let's see. We can try a line. And then the back of the wall. Awesome. So now we have a solid countertop, but the hidden line of the cabinet is still showing through. Now it's not too obvious over here, but over in this view, it'll be real obvious. So let me go to my other cabinet view. And there we have a nice butcher block maple countertop. Now with this one, you can just copy it over to here. Okay. And you've got your second one. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to do a tile backsplash on the walls to cover up that joint down there. Now, where are we at here? 13 minutes. So I need to pause this video. We're going to do the same thing over here, but we're going to do it in 3 pieces so that we've got an angled, a miter in between each one of them. So we're going to end up doing it 3 times. So let me pause this video and then I'll come back.